by for mode 1 Charlie 17. Mark, mode 1 Charlie.
And the flight dynamics officer says we look good on all sources, right on the trajectory. Crew will experience maximum G-forces of about 4 Gs at shutdown. Coming up on first stage shutdown. I think we saw them all from here.
Roger, Jack. The thrust is going, all 5 up there. Running good. Roger, 17, you're go.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is indeed his messenger. I further bear witness that regardless to land, language, culture, or religion, there isn't but one God. I am thankful to this one God for his consistency and his mercy, for his intervention in the affairs of humanity when humanity has strayed from the right path. We are thankful to Allah for Abraham, for Noah, for Lot, for Moses, for Jesus, and Muhammad. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon these worthy servants of his. But I would be remiss in my duty as a Black man in America if I did not thank the consistency of God, the constancy of God, and his intervention in the affairs of Black people in America, and for preparing a body and doing us one better than he did others. He did not just raise a messenger or a prophet for us, but he prepared a body fulfilling what is written in the scripture in the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter, the 27th verse. As lightning shineth out of the east, even unto the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. And we are thankful to this one God for preparing that body in the form of a well-made man by the name of Master Fard Muhammad. And we thank him for his search among us, finding one worthy among us in the first instance in the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we thank the two of them for not leaving us comfortless, but leaving with us a leader, a teacher, a guide, a brother, and a true friend in the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I greet my brothers and sisters in our nation greeting of peace of Assalamu alaikum. With that said, I would like to bring to the screen and our microphones the host of this program and thank him ever and over again for being blessed with this idea to present to the public, not only in this country, but around the world and around this nation, and that is what the Muslims want, what the Muslims believe. Brother Stephen Muhammad, Knowledge for Life, a producer, a videographer of our history and our work. Brother Stephen Muhammad, thank you so much for the honor and privilege of being on these airwaves. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. And I'll open up Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I would like to greet all of those who are in our viewing and listening audience with the greeting words of peace. It is our original language of Assalamu alaikum. And as we know, brother student minister, it's a prayer of peace be unto you. And we can find no better greeting in a time like this that we live in, where there's so much chaos and confusion, as we know that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said would be in these last days, that a prayer of peace It's the best prayer, it's the best greetings that we can have. But when you think about it, the enemy, he comes with hello. Hell is low. We don't want to say
That's right.
hello
That's
to
right.
each
That's
other.
right. That's
We
right.
don't want to say hi because we're in such a low condition that we're trying to get high just to escape reality.
Yes, sir.
We don't want to say what's up because we so far in the mud. We want to know what's up. All these type of greetings. The best greeting is assalamu alaikum. And if you can't say that, just say peace. Peace, brother. Peace, sister. But I want to thank you, brother student minister, as always, for participating and being a part of this program, because as you already know, we're living in a time where people want to know, how do we get out of this mess?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so we wanted to talk about what the Muslims want and what the Muslims believe. And this is part 1 of 4. And we're just going to be tackling 1 through 5, brothers and sisters. So we're not going to exhaust you with all 22. We're just going to go through 1 through 5. And so with that, let's get right on into it, brother student minister.
Sure.
Let's start off with what the Muslims want. We know that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has this in Message to the Black Man, which was put out in 1965.
Yes, sir.
And it's on the back of on the inside of every Final Call newspaper. So let's go into what the Muslim want. Why the Muslims?
Because when you say the is the definite article. It means this is not a copy, this is not an opinion. What the Muslims want, the reason why he said that, and he was challenged on that by those in the Orthodox community, you should not say what the Muslims want, because they did not want to accept the fact that we were, in fact, real Muslims. But the reason why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad put what the Muslims want is because he declared to the world, which no one else has ever done, to say he met personally with God and was taught by God, and from the inspiration and teachings of Master Farad Muhammad, God in person. He was given the inspiration and the revelation to come up with a program that was a solution not only to the ills of Black people in America, but if this program was followed, it would be the solution to the problems of the world. And I would only add this other caveat, Brother Stephen, and to our listening audience. When you say the definite article, if you substitute the word Muslim, which means one who submits his or her will to do the will of God, if you substitute Christian, one who is crystallized in the oneness with God through following the example of Jesus Christ, if you would take the Jew or the Hebrew, one who submits to the Torah, one who submits to the 10 commandments of Musa or Moses, this program would be the want of every righteous person, not just the Muslims, but because it came from a Muslim, then it is presented to the world of all righteous, charactered, honest people. And that's why it's entitled the, because it is the definite article, because it was inspired by God himself through the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. And if I could chime in on that as well,
Please.
When we look, that word Muslim, Allah, Muslim, these are still in 2026. These words to some of us are still a little foreign. They're still a little alien. And what we are taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is by nature, every Black man and every Black woman is by nature a Muslim, because as you said, by nature, our nature is to submit to Allah, to God, to Jehovah, whatever name we may call the supreme being. This is our nature. And so when we say Muslim, whether the brothers and sisters who are Christian, who are not non-religious, believe it or not, this what the Muslim want, it includes them as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Excellent.
So
excellent point.
Let's get right on into it. So we want freedom. We want a full and complete freedom. So the question I have to ask is, if we want freedom and a full, complete freedom, when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that, what exactly do we believe he meant by freedom beyond simply being freed from chattel slavery, free from those chains that we had around our ankles and around our wrists?
Sure. In this point, Brother Stephen, thank you for stating it. He says here, we want freedom. We want a full and complete freedom. Well, most of us believe that we were freed when Abraham Lincoln produced what is called the Emancipation Proclamation. But to be freed through what is called emancipation simply means to be freed from one's hand, but not from one's control.
Mm-hmm.
So even though the white man had an Emancipation Proclamation that allegedly let the slaves out of slavery, he never gave us the requisite knowledge. And what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is offering in this statement of freedom, you cannot truly be free until the Black man and woman's mind is restored and reconnected to the originator of the heavens and the earth, as our minds were before the white man kidnapped us, Caucasianized us, westernized us, and actually disconnected us from the originator of the heavens and the earth, or God. And when you take a people and disconnect them from God and rob them of the knowledge of themselves, the knowledge of others, the knowledge of Satan, then they are truly not free. You can be free to roam around in a large cage, 3,000 by 2,000 miles. We walk around in America, but we're not free in the mind. We're not free in the heart. So until you are free from the inside out, you are not free. So when Elijah Muhammad says we want freedom, we want a full and complete freedom, that full and complete freedom cannot come until we are thoroughly baptized in the knowledge of self, God, and others. That's the only way we can have a full and complete freedom.
So, I mean, a lot of us, we are walking around today, we believe that we're free.
Sure.
So what are some examples that our freedom is limited, that we may not recognize, that we may not know?
One of the first freedoms, which is the simplest freedom, is for us to give up the name of our former slave masters. Most of us walk around Jones, Washington, Culpeper. So the number one thing that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad asked us to do was give up the name of our former slave masters. What does that mean? It simply means that the last slave master that owned our great, great, great grandparents, if he sold one of our great, great grandparents to Master Jones, he sold us to Master Smith, That was the name that the slave left at the end of so-called slavery. That's the name we took on when we left the plantation and were allegedly free. That's the name we have on. So when we came into the Nation of Islam, the first thing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did was X'd us out of that name. All of us took on the name of Donnell X Underdown, Donnell X Jones, Stephen X Washington. The X stood for the unknown. I don't know what my original name is, but I know for certain it ain't Smith, it ain't Jones, it ain't Culpepper. So the giving up of the slave master's name is the first step in acknowledging, because see, when you give up the name, it opens up. Well, why do I have to give up the name? Because name shows ownership. And if I say I'm free, then why am I walking around with another man's name?
And you know,
that's the first step in recognizing and expanding upon, Brother Stephen, how we begin to open up our minds to other things. It starts with giving up what Elijah Muhammad asked us to do, give up our former slave master's name.
And isn't there like a verse in the Bible that talks about captive slaves?
Yes, it is. There's one in there. And it also says a good name is more precious than silver and gold.
So what would full and complete freedom look like in the everyday lives of Black people, economically, politically, socially, and culturally?
Sure. Prior to 1975, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad built a model program of what freedom would look like. He had thousands of acres of farmland. He had supermarkets. He had sandwich shops. He had universities and schools throughout this nation. He was doing trade internationally. We were bringing in millions of pounds of whiting H&G. He had a model program of what the meanest of our people, the most least educated of our people could do. So imagine what we could do with the same program. And now the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan took that same program that the Caucasian government destroyed. And he has reestablished the pillar flagship mosques, homes, and farmlands of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he has traveled the world several times over, and we are now again reconnected to the international community. And that's what that would look like, Brother Stephen. And all you got to do is get any Final Call newspaper and go backwards, and you will see the progress of the rebuilding and resurrection of the nation. And go back and get any Muhammad Speaks and see what God blessed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and now Minister Farrakhan coming from 77 to today. And you would have to admit, this is, and now everybody's even saying it now. We misunderstood the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we may not understand the theology, but we cannot deny that principally this man had the example of the program of what Black people must do. And now you have movements around the country talking about reparations and all of the things, getting land back, because that is the basis of all freedom if we're truly going to be free and independent.
And, you know, once again, chiming in on that, you know, what comes to mind is a lot of us don't really know. I know we're taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that business is warfare. And when we look at a lot of our Black businesses that we own, TV stations, hair, beauty products, all of those were taken over. You know
Yes,
what I
sir.
mean?
Yes,
And a
sir.
lot of people don't even know that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan with the Power Program,
Yes, sir.
wanting to, uh, distribute the Power Program through Jet, through some of the stores,
Johnson and
that
Johnson. Yes, sir.
it was the government that prohibited, or that threatened, not just the government, but those powers that really control distribution. He was talking about how our business people are really midgets in comparison to the powers that whites have.
That's right. The Fortune 500 companies, there's not one black multi-million-dollar company that can even get on the Fortune 500. We are midgets in comparison to them. They
And this
threaten
is, yeah.
them. They threaten their distribution,
Mm-hmm.
showing you the power that they have over our lives. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan, as you just said so beautifully, Brother Stephen,
Mm.
set up a program to prove to us. Then Muammar Gaddafi offered
Right.
us not only $1 billion, but he
Mm-hmm.
offered us the wealth of his country because he saw in us the only black organization that could handle properly the distribution of that kind of money to set up businesses, rehab communities in our own communities. And if the government says we should pull ourselves by our own bootstrap, they are proof positive that they are liars
You're
because they
right.
block
Right.
every effort
And this is the
for us
things
to
that
get
happen
up.
behind the scene that people don't realize. They don't
Right.
really recognize that. And this is not just, once again, just for the nation. We're talking about all black business people. And when we look at them,
All black farmers are under attack. They're trying to drive us out of business. They destroyed every black successful town, every black successful business. The aim of this government is the destruction of us, and they are not our friend. And by now, if we don't recognize it, many of us are going to go down in our ignorance.
right. So let's go on. That was my alarm for our 20 minutes on that program. And brothers and sisters, if you want to be a part, I think I put the link down into the chat. I'll go ahead and put that on there again. If you want to chime in or have any questions, we're going to open it up a little later to get into those questions. So point number 2, what we want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, regardless of creed or class or color. Can you go into what does justice look like?
Sure. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teach us that true justice is what is called fair dealings, principled dealings, unbiased dealings, not my feelings, not my emotions, but what the actual facts show. But I think another interesting point in this, brother Stephen, with this justice point, is that it says regardless of creed, class, or color.
Right.
So for all of those who want to hold on to that Elijah Muhammad and Louis Farrakhan teach hate, he
Mm-hmm.
very clearly states off the bat, before you even get into the in-depthness of all of this, we
Right.
want justice for all to be applied equally to all, regardless of creed, class, or color. What does that mean? That simply means that if a Caucasian person, and I witnessed a Caucasian person being done unjustly by anybody, even
Mm-hmm.
me or one of us, and I had to go to court to testify, I'm not going to go into court and lie and say you did not snatch the woman's purse if I saw you snatch it.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to go into court and do what? Testify to the truth. So this is a man of integrity. He don't care what your color is. He don't care what your religion is, regardless the class, whether you're poor, rich, or whatever. We want justice for all.
Right.
So that should put
So,
to death this
mhm.
accusation that Elijah Muhammad is prejudiced and racist. That's so far from him. That's foolishness. So
I mean,
true
really,
freedom, brother, true
yeah,
justice, what it looks like is if somebody commits a crime because they're rich, I don't give them a scapegoat. I don't give them a light sentence as we see in all these cases of the murder of black women, the murder of black men, dropping off in the water, going off on a college thing with somebody, and you don't come back, but all the white ones come back, and then they get off with it. Sister hanging in the abandoned house on the back of a tree. She's in the real estate and she ends up hanging herself, but she's all bruised and beat up. But you gonna say she did it to herself? Get out of here.
right.
So this is what he means by true justice. If you're guilty of something, then justice has to be applied. Otherwise, it's not justice at all. It means just us. You're spelling it JUST-US. Us.
Mhm.
We want real justice. And that means whatever the actual facts show, that's how the anvil should fall.
Right, right. And like you said, we want justice to apply fairly, regardless of wealth, status, race, religion. All of these are factors that we see
And that's
when
what
it comes
and that's
down
what
to
true justice looks like.
menting
Yes,
out justice. Right.
yes.
So we want equal justice under the law. I want to ask, equal justice under the law means, when we look at the experience, what does that mean when we look at the experience of Black people today?
Sure. There is no equal justice under the current law of the Caucasian because really they don't have law, they have policies. If they truly followed the law, the American European law really comes out of the law of the Holy Quran or the jurisprudence that you see in the verses of the Holy Quran. That is really the undergirding thing. And what America has done and what white Europeans have done, they have added to and taken away from. They make mischief with the law.
Mm-hmm.
They write opinions on the law. They make mischief with words, and that's why the judge has the final say so. So they don't really have law that's rooted in universal principles of justice that govern the universe. They
Right.
have policies that are adjusted according to their own nature. And that's why they say things like somebody commits murder, somebody commits theft. So you'll write my son up for having a roach in his car or a reef in his car. But the white boy, you said, well, I'll tell you what, since it's your first time, you don't even give him a ticket at all. So he has no, you say we commit more crime, but if you don't
Right.
never write your sons up, then quite
Right.
naturally their record's going to be better than mine, and the stats are going to look better for him than they do for me because they don't really practice true justice through the law.
And one of the things too is, like you're saying, they stretch the law for themselves and they tighten the law for us. But one of the things that they also like to do is they like to use numbers. Oh, well, when it comes down to police brutality, whites are accosted more than blacks. But when we go on to these social media sites, we see whites literally running the police over with their cars. They ain't getting shot.
Right.
Stabbing the police. They ain't getting shot. But we have
and they don't
a
get no
medical
harsh sentences
mental
either.
emergency.
They don't get no
and
harsh
we get
sentences either.
shot.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I want to ask, do you believe that American justice system applies the law equally regardless to race? And what I want to also ask to you is, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that one of the things that we run into is that the judge is related to the cop. Is related to
That's
everybody.
what he said.
Is related.
That's what he said. That's what he said. He says it also in Mr. the Black Man right here. That their laws, they do not apply them equally. In fact, let me say this to you right while we're right here. Here's one of the things that he said in this program. We must remember that we just cannot depend on the white race ever to do that which we can and should do for ourselves. The American so-called Negroes are like the Bible story of Lazarus and the rich man. He goes on to say, if the white circle leaders want to keep their circle white, I say keep it white. If the Ku Klux Klan want to keep their race white, I say do so. And he goes on into about this law. As you were bringing up earlier, he's saying that we will never get justice in the courts of America. And after 400 years, they would remember the Dred Scott decision. There are no rights that a black man has that a white man is duty bound to respect. That may not be said in the open today,
right?
But the end results of the number of black people and quote unquote so-called brown people in prison, other than Caucasians, is disproportionate to our numbers in America.
Right.
So to answer your question point blank, frankly, no, we will never receive justice in the courts of America. And with the current leadership in place right now, we most certainly will never, ever see it.
Right, right. So if justice is not being applied equally, what challenges or what changes do you believe are necessary to create a truly just system for us?
We need to do what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad asked us. I mean, we're jumping ahead. We need to go down to point number 4. We have to separate our people into a separate state or territory of our own. And before anybody jumps up and says, that'll never work, I ask one simple question. Who lives next door to you? We are already separated. We are already segregated. Most of us live around people who look just like us. The only problem is we don't own the apartment complex. We don't own the housing development. But what if we bought the apartment complex? What if we bought the housing development? Then we could form an HMO or HOM or what do they call it? A housing, what's that thing called when you govern a apartment complex or a housing area? Anyway,
right.
You form a homeowners association.
Right, right.
And we produce our rules for that community. And we begin to govern ourselves. We own it. We own the land under it. And then once again, like we had before during segregation, this is a willful separation of mature, intelligent, just thinking people. And that's how we begin, Brother Stephen, and the believing audience or the audience, to begin to take control of our own communities, make them safe and decent places to live. Then we can begin to see true justice when we give it to ourselves by the blessings of God himself.
That's right. And once we came out of slavery, we developed, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us, a number of different black towns, and these black towns were prosperous.
That's right.
And they were prosperous mainly because we were the ones who were doing all the work, and they had to come to us to do any type of labor.
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir.
But through straight out brutality and through government policy, running a lot of highways through black towns, destroying them.
Yes, sir.
That and this goes on today, like you were saying, with the black farmers and the USDA. The number one contributor to us losing land is the government itself.
Yes, sir.
We go on because I know we're reaching our point with that point, but as you say, we need to begin to look towards each other as far as building our own. Once again, I want to go to point number 3, and that is we want equality of opportunity. We want equal membership in society with the best in civilized society. When we talk about equality, we want equality of opportunity. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad called for equal opportunity. What is the difference between having an opportunity and actually having a realistic chance to succeed?
Yes, sir. When he makes the point about equality, and I'm glad you brought the point up, we need to look at the word, what is equality? See? Equality means that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave this analogy once. In the Bill of Rights or the preamble to the Constitution, it talks about all men are created equal. And he said that is not true. All men are not created equal. All men are created equally, meaning that all of us have gifts, all of us have talents, but if everybody was exactly the same, we would not have any Usain Bolts, we would not have any Serena Williams.
Right.
Because everybody would finish the race at the same time. Everybody would be a superstar. So everybody's not created equal. We are created equally, which means we are all equal under the law of God. So the equality that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is talking about is the equality that stems from God's law, God's creation for the human being. The Quran says we were all created into tribes and families, not to despise one another, but so that we may get to know one another. So this equality thing is that give me the opportunity to display my talents and gifts, and if that puts me in this position or that position, what's wrong with that? Don't you want the best for your children? Why do you send them to the best schools? Because you want them to get the best opportunity through the best education, not to hold them back, even if they exceed where you got in life. All of us want our children to be what? Better than us, to go further than us. Then what about the human family, period? If you are the best person to do what you're doing right now, I cannot think of a better person to put this program onto you. And as I told you when you offered the program, I believe it was divinely inspired. That's called equality. Giving the person who has the best way of bringing this about, let them do it without hindrance. But that's not what the white man wants. He does not want equality. And it's going to lead us to point number 4 before we're done.
Right.
If we cannot get this, then it goes right back to what we said. Then we have to separate from you.
Right.
See, we all harp on point number 4 about, well, that ain't right. Why you want to do that? Why? Because but before you get to point number 4, there's 3 other points that you ain't dealing with. If I cannot get freedom, if I cannot get justice, if I cannot get equality, there ain't nothing else left for me to do but leave you. We have irreconcilable differences.
And one of the things that I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say about those 3 principles, if you will, is that they're the essence of life. The very essence of life is that if you're robbed of freedom, if you're robbed of justice, if you're robbed of equality, then you will give your life.
You have no life. You have no
freedom, justice, and equality. And
that's why you see people. You are a slave. You are a slave.
That's right. And so one of the things that I was looking up as far as equality, like you were just saying, is without barriers, without discrimination or nepotism or bias. All of these are factors in America right now. Even the white people themselves are now beginning to feel this by their own people when it comes
The
down to
injustice.
equal
It's only about the
equality.
rich and nobody else.
Right. Let's go on then. Do blacks in America today have equal access to education, employment, business, housing, and economic opportunities that other
No,
Americans have?
they do not. Even when we go to school and get master's degrees and doctor's degrees, we do not graduate. And I am not saying we don't need scholarship. I am not saying don't go to school or college and get your degree. If you're striving to do that, do it.
Mm-hmm.
But understand, if you whatever you do in the colleges of this world, if you go in without the knowledge of yourself and the knowledge of God, then all you become is a master resume writer. You
Mm-hmm.
become a doctorate degree person who can't heal a thing. But once you get the knowledge of yourself and the knowledge of God, then that opens up the door for you to take those same talents, instead of giving them to your slave master after he took them from you. It gives you the inspiration with the knowledge of self and God to hunger for doing something for yourself and your own people.
And let's look at the educational system in and of itself, set up by the Rockefellers. And, it was a system that was designed so that you would never think outside the box.
Right.
It's a system that's designed to educate you to be a wage slave. And so I always tell people, during chattel slavery, the slave master, he used to have to clothe the slaves and give them housing. But through this new high-tech form of wage slavery, the slave has to clothe themselves, house themselves, and you don't have enough money to actually enjoy life. You don't have any expendable money. And so, this is the degree of sophisticated technology that we see going on today.
Another form of slavery, just like you said, right? Keep you attached to him. Keep you attached and dependent on him for everything.
Dependent, absolutely. There's a saying that you'll own nothing and be happy. It's probably not the exact quote, but
no,
when we see,
I have plenty of nothing, and nothing is plenty for me. The minister talks about that song back in the 30s and whatnot. Yep.
And once again, if there are white people watching this broadcast, they need to understand that they're privatizing everything, which means that what they used to target towards us, now poor whites, you're included in this whole
ain't no question about it.
Satanic scheme itself.
Ain't no question about it.
So what responsibility do we as a black community have to create opportunities for ourselves and for our children, rather than waiting for institutions to provide them?
One of the biggest things that I think, Brother Stephen, listening audience, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, whenever you go to NOI.org, one of the introductory aspects of that program before the main program comes online, he talks about that Mosque Mariam is an institution dedicated to the re-education, the retraining of the black men and women of America. And then he says the whole of humanity, because the whole world needs to be re-educated and retrained. So when you talk about real education, it's not about rote quote of Socrates, Plato, and those fellas of old. It's not about quoting and studying for a test to pass a test.
Right.
Real education involves critical thinking, where you may come up with better solutions than what was written from those in the past, because those that wrote books in the past, their scholarship was not infinitesimal. It was limited. So for those who want to advance true education, it's about critical thinking, creative thinking, and advancing the civilization beyond where we are now with just the quotation of dead scholars who were limited in their knowledge.
And you know, one thing, brother student minister, just popped into my mind is that, to show you how foul this educational system is that they've removed some of the basic components that will prepare you for life. They've removed home ec. They've removed some of the programs that teach young men how to do plumbing, just basic skills.
The trade,
They've
right.
taken them out of school.
Wood
and
shop,
so,
metal shop, automotive
right.
repair. Yes, sir.
Mhm.
And also home economics, those kind of things. Typing. They've taken cursive writing out of some schools now.
Come on, look
And
at that.
don't plan
Now,
on bringing them back.
and so how do you educate? How do you not educate, but how do you graduate from school and you don't know how to balance a book? How do you graduate from school? You don't know how to buy a home. How do you graduate from school and you don't know the basics of budgeting your financing?
Can't balance the
Brothers and
checkbook.
sisters.
Can't balance the checkbook.
So
Here's-
let's go
here's-
on because we
Yes,
could
sir,
go
yes,
on
sir.
and on with
Yes,
the
sir, yes, sir,
education
yes, sir.
of this system.
Yes, sir.
But before we do, I want to take a little break. I want to play this commercial.
Sure.
And this is for our sisters who may be interested in joining the Nation of Islam and learning more about true general civilization. So let's take a look at this and we'll be right back.
We don't sleep when the sun goes down. We don't waste no precious time. All my friends in the loop, making up for teenage crime. Making up for teenage crime. We don't sleep when the sun goes down. We don't waste no precious time. All my friends in the loop, making up for teenage crime. Don't go away.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Love it.
All
Love
right.
it. Love it.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's for our MGT and brothers. If you're watching, we got one for you coming up. Let's go on to point number 4. We want our people in America whose parents, whose grandparents were descendants from slaves to be allowed to establish a separate state or territory of their own, either on this continent or elsewhere. We believe that our former slave masters are obligated to provide such land and that the area must be fertile and minerally rich. We believe that our former slave masters are obligated to maintain and supply our needs in this separate territory for the next 20 to 25 years until we are able to produce and supply our own needs. Since we can't get along with them in peace and equality after giving them 400 years of our sweat and blood and receiving in return some of the worst treatment human beings have ever experienced, we believe our conditions that this land and the suffering forced upon us by white America justifies our demand for complete separation in a state and territory of our own. So the question is, we want a separate state or territory. Do you think the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad believed that Black people whose ancestors were enslaved in America should have their own state or territory?
Yes, sir, I do. What he's saying to them, for those who would say this is not feasible, this is not realistic, all we need to do is look at the state of Israel. There are over 1 million some Hasidic Jews that do not agree with the state of Israel. They believe that they are waiting on the Messiah to put them in the promised land. The state called Israel is really a Zionist political state founded by Ben Gurion and Herzl, Theodore Herzl, who were not really believers in God at all. They were forced the Palestinians out of there and are killing them even now, and have never intended for there to be a two-state solution. And they are over there killing them right now so they can take over that whole area unjustly. And so therefore, we believe that it is justified, and they have been supporting Israel for over 40 some years now, going into 50 or more now, and are still giving them funding, and all of the government officials, military wise, money wise, if they didn't give Israel another dollar, Israel could still survive, but yet they still support them no matter what they do. And this war going on right now is not necessarily at the instigation of Mr. Trump, but really Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel. Israel is an outlaw state. It's unjust. But if you can support them, if you could take Japan after imprisoning them in concentration camps and rebuild them, then most certainly after what you've done to us and are currently doing to us, most certainly if anybody was justified in being supported, what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is asking in this, written back in 1965 and preached even before that, most certainly we are justified in asking what he's asking. And right now, this would be the most clearest sign that it should be done.
You know, brother student minister, you know, I found it just appalling and really, I mean, upsetting to no end that so much money was sent to Ukraine under Biden, so much money spent to Israel to make Gaza a moonscape, that they then turn around, look us in the face, and tell us they don't have money for reparations. And then there's some of us who just don't get it. You know what I mean? Who just don't get it. They still want to, don't get me wrong, they still want to vote. But like Dr. Umar was talking about, we put all this energy into voting. How about putting energy into building our communities up?
Right.
How about using that same energy to build schools and hospitals for ourselves? If let's go on. Let me ask another question.
Yes, sir.
So I'm asking, of course, these questions from a novice, you know, somebody who may have never, you know, got a chance.
As we should. And even though we've heard it, it's always good to repeat it, because it makes, you know, Allah will bring up other things in your mind, because of the time that we're in now, we'll give you even better answers than we gave yesterday.
Absolutely. So is the idea of Black self-determination through a separate territory still relevant today? Or can economic and political independence be achieved without geographic separation?
Your latter point is the answer. That we will never achieve economic parity, economic anything, as long as we are attached and try to function through this system. There are many of our people that are repeating the mistakes we made in the 60s. Marching and protesting, by the very nature of a protest, means you're protesting to someone who has the power, and you think by sitting down, falling down, wading in, walking in, chaining yourself to a telephone pole or a tree, that you're going to force the power that is destroying the thing to bow to you, when you have no power to make their minds change up. You have no power to make a demand. And as they say, power, Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without a demand. Minister Farrakhan added, power concedes nothing without a demand backed up by power. So if you have no power to enforce your demand, then you're still not going to get what you demand. So the bottom line, brother, is that no, we will never get it through their political system. And after we've been involved in politics now for what, almost going past 70, going into 100 some years now, and we still have not gotten it. Every time there's a Democratic person in there and they don't give us what we want, they blame it on the Republicans. And the Republicans get in there, they blame it on the Democrats. But at the end of the day, Black people never get what they promised us. Biden promised us the George Floyd bill. Biden promised us the new Voting Rights Act, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. That is now a caricature of what was intended by John Lewis. And George Floyd is a forgotten Black man. That law don't exist, but the homosexual community, the LGBT community are moving along quite well.
Right. And
everybody gets what they want with us involved, but we never get what we want, nor do they support us in getting what we want.
And brother student minister, like you say, you see everyone getting some type of aid, if you will. But you look at our condition and our being here 400 years. I think Black brothers and sisters, we have to ask the question, why won't they help us? Why won't they help us? Why do they seem to help everyone else, but they won't help us? What is it about the Black man that they have a fear of? That's what I would begin to ask. And I wanted to say that,
any questions on the line?
We have a young brother, Gary, but you got to connect your device. It says that if you want to come on. If anybody else wants to come on, you're more than welcome. I'll go ahead and put this link up once again. Let's see here. I'll put it up. But it's in the chat. So if you see that chat and you want to ask a question before we begin to wrap up, please don't hesitate. We're all family here, so don't even feel that you're going to be embarrassed or anything like that.
This is not what this is about. This is not what
we're
this
not
is
about that. So let me ask. So believers of Islam and Black people facing death sentences. What is your thoughts as far as that's concerned?
Sure. When the Honorable Muhammad says for our people that under innumerable sentences receiving death sentences, let's look at it like this. I heard the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan say in one of his presentations when he was visiting one of the prisons I believe it was in Chicago, it might have been Cook County or one of them. What was the name that you signed when you checked into here? Willie Jones, McGillicuddy Brown, whatever the name was, it was not your name. So when you went in here, you were under your slave master's name. You lacked the knowledge of who you are. But once you are introduced to Islam, now that Islam is prevalent in all of the prisons throughout America, thanks to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad for his unjust imprisonment, Islam was allowed to spread throughout the prisons. Now, of course, now that they're privatizing them, they're trying to find every way they can. So now if you try to get into a prison, every prison, because it's privatized, got their own policy for entry and what they will allow. My point for saying that is that every prisoner under federal prisons now went into that prison ignorant of the knowledge of themselves, the knowledge of God, and the choice. So what Elijah Muhammad is saying, give them the choice to be given Islam, taught Islam, and then let them make a choice. And they should be released from the federal prisons as you released your prisoners out of the dregs and the prisons of England to come over here to America and steal the land from the Native Americans.
Yeah.
And found your nation. Give us a chance to take our brothers and sisters who are locked up under false pretenses, many times not guilty of the crime at all. Some liar, some false witness got them in there. Give us a chance to have access to them and watch us rehabilitate them like you saw with Malcolm, like you saw with others.
And Brother Minister, I wanted to apologize to you and the audience because I asked the question without reading point number 5. So let me do that real quick and let's go on.
Sure.
So point number 5 is that we want freedom for all believers of Islam now held in federal prisons. We want freedom for all Black men and women under death sentence in innumerable prisons in North as well as the South. We want every Black man and woman to have the freedom to accept or reject being separated from the slave master's children and to establish a land of their own.
Yes,
and so,
sir.
like
Yes,
you were saying, when we look at the prison industrial complex,
yes, sir.
Once again, this is all by wicked design, brothers and sisters, because they say what they plan on prison beds by what, the 3rd grade or something like that.
Yes, sir.
So they already
you're right. The peak in the school, the prison, the school to prison pipeline, the black laws back during segregation time. When you set them free, if they don't have a job, you ain't gonna hire them. So automatically, you got a chance to lock them up because you're not gonna give them a job, and you can't be a vagrant. So you set it up, and you set our children up in the school. They go to peak. They go to what they call the North Pole High School for all delinquents. They go to a special school. So when they get up out of there, they will get in trouble, straight to prison.
Right. And like I said, we just have a morphing of systems. We have slavery morphing into sharecropping, morphing into chain gangs, morphing into what we call today the prison industrial complex. America has never given up slavery. And now, as I was just saying, the whole population is a slave under what's called wage slave, but they don't even realize that they're slaves.
Because they got us programmed to think we're making progress.
Right. And now you have them setting up, which even white people are upset, these data centers, which are not designed to aid the people. Everyone knows that these data centers are going to be set up to mass surveillance.
Right.
A police state.
Right.
Then they get rid of the physical currency, go to digital currency. Then you are really a slave because, as the Bible says, you have the mark of the beast and you cannot sell without their permission.
Right. Yes, sir.
So let me go ahead and ask this next question as we begin to wrap this up.
Sure.
It says, we want freedom. What does the demand for freedom for Muslims imprisoned in the federal prison, imprisoned by the federal government, and for Black people facing death sentences, tell us about what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad understanding of the justice system and human rights in America?
Sure. You described very beautifully earlier about how many people got into prison in the first place. You got the slave cropping, morphed into something else, morphed into something else. Everything in this society, as it relates to Black people, has been done to what is called social engineering. You make it impossible for us to get a job, and then you make it a law where if you don't have a job, you're vagrant. Then you force us into homelessness. Somebody gets hungry, so they steal a loaf of bread. So now they've committed a crime. So everything you do, you rob the person of their natural rights to express themselves and act on their God-given talents and gifts. So when you cut a man off from all natural, righteous ways to make a living, then you are channeling him socially into crime, murder, killing. And so then you privatize a prison to make a profit off of the very people that you are steering, as you said, into the very thing. You're free, but I don't have anything. You took everything from me. You didn't allow me to read. So I'll tell you what then, come back and work this land where I ain't got to work it. So it's really yours, but you got to get all your implements from me. I'll give them to you on credit with interest, knowing you can't read, knowing you can't count. So every year, I'll always make sure you never pay me back for what you borrowed from me. So you are perpetually, you can change the name sharecropping to slave cropping.
Right, absolutely.
And that's how it is today. Henry Ford invented the 40-hour work week. Where's that written? I got to work 40 hours a day. Sometimes 80 hours a week. Where's that at?
You know, and the thing too is we're looking at, more of a technological economy, and our babies are going to these school systems and they don't even have computers. We're being set up. I mean,
again, for failure. And they'll just say, well, I can't because you didn't qualify. I mean, you got to go get some computer skills.
Right. Ridiculous. Okay, the next question is when we look at mass incarceration, wrongful conviction, disparities in sentencing, and the death penalty today, how relevant is the demand for freedom?
Wow, brother. When you think about what we just discussed prior to that last question, how relevant is freedom? It is an absolute must. If we do not push what you and I just discussed up till this very moment, then there will be death inside the prison because they're injecting some of our prisoners with the COVID vaccine. Before the COVID vaccine, many of the prisoners were checked for AIDS before they went in, but none of them are checked for AIDS and STDs and other diseases when they come out. So they come out and almost like the Tuskegee experiment, they pass that on to their loved ones. Because their health is not checked leaving, only when they go in, so they make sure they don't infect the warden and the prison guards. But when they release you, they don't give a damn what you take back to your family. So freedom will become so prevalent, brother, and required here soon, or we're going to die before we even get started if we don't wake up and smell the coffee.
Yeah, I got one more question and then we'll begin. We'll go ahead and close on out, okay?
Sure.
Once again, brother student minister, I want to thank you for your time and coming on here and answer some of these basic questions. And like we said, what the Muslims want, brothers and sisters, once again, do not think that you're excluded from that umbrella of Muslim. You know, that would be the mistake of thinking that I mean, there are some of us who are under the delusion that because we have a little bit of money, that we are included in the society. But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he said that no black man, no black woman can rise above the condition of our people. And we need to understand that more today than ever.
All you
So
got to do, brother Stephen, is look at the Puff Daddies, the Bill Cosbys, all
right,
those who
Michael
are
Jackson, that's
who
right.
got money. They'll show you you can't rise above you. And Muhammad Ali said it best when he was talking with the minister. Still a nigga, still
Right,
a nigga,
right.
still a nigga.
When you look at the end of all of these people's careers, they find a way to get that money back. And sometimes it's through the white woman. Okay. So
That too.
let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. And we're gonna get into that in one of these.
Oh, ain't no question about it.
What should the Black community be doing today to protect people who may be unjustly imprisoned, wrongly convicted, or facing excessive punishment?
One of the pillar points of the Million Man March, given to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan by God, and the song that ended it with "To God Be the Glory," was for all of us to go back and adopt a prisoner, adopt a child. I think we all need to go back to the pledges and the promises that he asked us to make, and we all made. We need to adopt somebody in prison so we can be a lifeline for them and ultimately agitate for justice and then implement what we just got through going over. Many of us are the key to those of our brothers and sisters that are unjustly incarcerated and need a way out or need somewhere to go when they do get out. So I think we need to apply those principles and that pledge that was made at the Million Man March. That though nobody said that was over. Million Man March pledges and principles and programs that came up out of that was to continue on to this very moment that we're speaking. God does not start something for us to just say, okay, well, I'm glad that's over. What's next? We have to go back and take all of the principled things that Allah gave to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan over these 72 years now of his service, 47 independent, almost 50 independent in the absence of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and bring these things into reality. We ain't got to reinvent the wheel. We just got to do what we've already been given. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in 1974, we ain't got to talk about what must be done. Just get on up and do something.
Just get on up and do something. So we'll go ahead and close this out. I'll let you, if you will, give us some closing remarks, and then I'll just close us out the rest of the way.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Brothers and sisters, thank you for all those that tuned in. Please, we appeal to you. Don't be afraid to call in. Don't be afraid to tune in. Don't be afraid to ask any question. The only dumb question is the one not asked. We are not here for embarrassment purposes. We are here seeking your input. All of us have a contribution to make to our rise. All of us have a contribution to make. God Almighty gave every individual person an accent on Black people in America. We all have a contribution to make, and we are appealing to you as your brother and friend to please, let's join together. Let's at least have a conversation for what's in our own best interest. I thank you for coming on. I thank you for listening as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum, and turn you back over to our host and wonderful brother and friend, Brother Stephen Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. And I'll go ahead and close us out for Knowledge for Life. And I want to just thank everyone, of course, for tuning in to Knowledge for Life. This is part one We did 1 through 5. And if you thought that this was good, wait till we do a 6 through 10, and then wait till we do what the Muslims believe. Now that right there is going to be really good. That's one of those ones you say is juicy. So
Yes,
just
yes,
stick around.
yes.
That's going to be really good. So with that, I want to say that, you could find these points right on the inside back of the Final Call newspaper. And I want to say that all of us should be getting the Final Call newspaper, because as what student minister said about social engineering, if you think that things are bad now, wait till things start to really collapse and you get this flood of lies that that they're going to spread. So let us get the Final Call newspaper. The best thing to really do is to get the hard copy, because you never know how long the internet is going to be around. Don't think that it'll be around forever. But with that, I want to put this link up and ask you, if you get a chance, to go on to Knowledge for Life's website and donate. If you have anything that you are able to give to Knowledge for Life, if it's a penny, a nickel, or well, you can't really give a penny, but you can give 5, 10. If you got it like that with 100, please give to help us continue to produce these programs. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close it on out. Like I said, with the brothers, we had the MGT commercial. So now I'm going to play the FOI commercial. I got it here somewhere. Hold on, here we go.
Yes.
I think this is it. Yeah.
There is a need in our community for a universal change. And it has to start with the man. Being a man of God means being a man possessed of the knowledge, the spirit, and the power of God, anointed to do his will. To build a people, you first